News alert here on the Dallas Cowboys report. Maybe not good news, though. DeMarcus Lawrence has refused a pay cut. Conversations between Tank and his agency and the Cowboys front office going down to the Combine this weekend. The Dallas Morning News reporting Lawrence refused to take a pay cut, and now the ball is back in the Cowboys' court. Will they restructure him? Will they extend him? Or perhaps most likely, will they cut him? Lawrence's cap hit is not feasible for the 2022 campaign, a $27 million cap charge that doesn't really make sense for the Cowboys to bring along. And the Cowboys last offseason kept open the door of potentially moving on from DeMarcus Lawrence when they did not restructure him. As we'll get into more in depth, they could save $8 million by cutting DeMarcus Lawrence, and there's plenty to talk about, which we've kind of mentioned before, but, well, with the franchise tag deadline on Tuesday and NFL free agency barely a week away, things are getting urgent for Dallas, and there will be plenty of news, and we're going to keep you covered on all of it. Whenever it goes down, we have you covered here at the Cowboys Report. Does my wife like it when I work 8 days straight? Or in this particular week's case, it's going to be like 14 days straight. Not really. But this is news. There's Cowboys stuff to talk about. How can I not do videos on it? If you want free breaking news, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Now, Tank Lawrence declining a pay cut isn't really a shocker, nor should it be a shocker. I will make note that we don't know what the pay cut request was. In general, normally teams ask, hey, can you cut that number in half for us? Whatever number they could save, which is $8 million. And that works out pretty well for Tank Lawrence's $19 million base salary. Maybe they asked him, hey, Tank, instead of $19 million, can you come down to $10 million this year? And this is also why Lawrence said no. I think he can get it $10 million pretty easily on the open market. I don't think that's an outlandish stretch whatsoever. So now you're juggling, okay, well, even if we bring down Tank to 15, which you could get on the open market, we're only saving 4 out of the potential 8. It's a dicey situation, which is why a release is very possible here for DeMarcus Lawrence. I think that's a very real outcome for the Cowboys. Now, they save $8 million with a release right now. That would free up $8 million on their salary cap instantly, would allow them to spend that $8 million. They could save $19 million with a post-June 1st cut. That money, take the dead million, the $19 million dead million cap charge you would have by cutting DeMarcus Lawrence. You could spread that over 2 years. $8 million this year, dead cap, $11 million next year when the salary cap is higher. Teams often do that, but you can't use that $19 million till after June 1st. And then you are stuck with dead money next year. We saw when the Cowboys cut Des Bryant, they did not make him a post-June 1st cut. So that's a tricky conversation the Cowboys have to figure out. If this was a $19 million saved right now, I think it had already been cut. Because it's not, things are a little bit dicey. So would you cut Tank Lawrence? Y for yes, N for no. Still a lot more to talk about on today's video. But I'm going to make this question the pinned comment on today's vid. So if you get the ad break on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for yes or N for no. Lawrence's sack production the past 3 years, I should say, has not been good since he finally signed that deal because you know how Stephen Jones operates. He doesn't win the deal. He waits and then loses the deal because, well, now they have no other viable options. 2019, sack numbers dipped, despite the pressure rate still being solid. 2020, the numbers actually go up, but the Cowboys' defense was terrible, and there were not many prime opportunities. 2021, he gets hurt, and that's actually the biggest problem right now with DeMarcus Lawrence. A fairly lengthy injury history, and you could save just as much money by extending or restructuring Tank Lawrence, but do you trust him because of those injuries? That is a more delicate problem than what it would have been. And if Tank had been healthy all year, played all 17 games, he would have had a bunch of sacks, although we might not have seen Micah pass rusher quite as much, which, look on the bright side, maybe that was a good thing in the end. So the injuries give even me, a big DeMarcus Lawrence supporter, pause about going, do you really want to restructure him? Do you want to push that money out into the future? That might be one you're not quite so sold on. Of course, it would have been a problem if you just paid Tank Lawrence a year earlier when you could have got him for like $17 million per year. Instead, the Cowboys didn't quite do that. All right, here's what Calvin Watkins wrote, the Dallas Morning News reporter who initially reported this story, also confirmed by our friend Bobby Belt, by the way. Lawrence and his family want to remain in Dallas. It seems like a natural fit for him. If the Cowboys release him by thinking he can return, people close to the defensive end believe he'll command a high salary on the open market for teams in need of a pass rusher. I would be inclined to agree with this. Depending on what happens at the franchise tag deadline, there will be interest in DeMarcus Lawrence. Will he command a full $19 million base salary like he's set to get this year? No, I don't really think so from that perspective. However, I do think he could command $15 million because that's how desperate teams are for pass rushers. And that lies the crux of the problem. Outside of a restructure, you're not going to bring down that cap figure enough for DeMarcus Lawrence. It's not going to be feasible for you to do that and save enough money outside of a restructure or with just a pay cut. Of course, Tank said no, and I also wouldn't put it past Stephen Jones to come with an insultingly low base salary restructure amount, or I should say pay cut amount. So there's a very real chance Tank ends up getting cut. The Cowboys Report, folks, is also on Rumble. The link is below, rumble.com/CowboysTV. So if you haven't already, go support us over there for more uncensored Cowboys Report. Not safe for work because they let me drop F-bombs without getting censored. Go support us. We are trailing behind other channels here at Chat Sports. Let's get it changed. Rumble.com. We're in last place? Oh, you guys are killing me here. Getting beat by the Browns? The Browns? They're a poverty organization. What are we doing? Go follow us on Rumble, rumble.com/CowboysTV, so producer Petey can't body me on my own show. All right, Randy Gregory. If DeMarcus Lawrence, potentially when DeMarcus Lawrence is cut, that only adds further fire to the return of Randy Gregory with, I think there being a very real chance the Cowboys try to take that $8 million or so in savings and give it to Randy Gregory. I would wonder if Gregory wants a little bit more. The Cowboys and Stephen Jones are not good at evaluating their own players before they hit the open market. They have failed repeatedly from that standpoint. So things could get a little bit dicey. Remember 2020 when Amari Cooper hit free agency and then got $20 million, and that was a team-friendly deal because the Commanders bid it up? Yeah, that could happen with Randy Gregory, Jaron Kearse, Dalton Schultz, and more with free agency just around the corner. It seems, much like the receiver position, the Cowboys are choosing to only keep one of their key playmakers. So if you could only keep one, who would it be? Type DL for DeMarcus Lawrence or type in RG for Randy Gregory. Pick one of those defensive linemen for me in the comments section right now. Now, in the event that DeMarcus Lawrence is released, edge is still a significant need for this organization. Randy Gregory is a free agent. If he's back, okay, that's one, but Dorrance Armstrong could very well be gone as well. Chauncey Golston was a rookie last year, didn't play that much. Terrell Basham is fine as your edge 4, but you probably don't want him as anything more than that. Maybe edge 3 when it's DeMarcus Lawrence and Gregory above him. And Micah pass rusher could also and should continue to get big usage in that area. Lawrence's loss, folks, would be significant, especially and predominantly on the field. Yeah, his sack numbers are down, but when you study the game, you can tell the impact that is made by DeMarcus Lawrence. He is a fantastic pass rusher when healthy, hasn't been that healthy, and he is by far your best run stopper on this team. Now, you're not paying $20 million for run stops, but you will miss him. The contract, though, is unmanageable, or at least it is unfavorable. So I understand why the Cowboys are considering moving on from DeMarcus Lawrence. This makes more sense to me than the whole Amari Cooper conversation. As for a trade of DeMarcus Lawrence, no. highly, highly, highly unlikely, even less likely than an Amari Cooper trade. The $19 million base salary, this doesn't fit for teams trying to acquire Lawrence because there is an even better chance he ends up getting cut. If Lawrence is gone, like I mentioned, edge becomes a big-time need. Some players to watch since the Cowboys never spend big in free agency. The three big names here: David Ojabo, George Karlaftis, Jermaine Johnson. Michigan, Purdue, Florida State. I'd be down with any of those three guys in round one. You're not going to get Trayvon Walker at number 24, however. Other guys: Logan Hall, Arnold Ebiketie, Drake Jackson, etc. Those are more round two guys. Good depth, though. You could take somebody in the second round and still get a good player. So in the end, if cut right now, the Cowboys have a $19 million dead cap charge. They save $8 million. That $19 million dead cap hit could be spread over 2 years if it's a post-June 1st cut, but you wouldn't get the $19 million in savings until next year, and then you have an $11 million or $19 million savings until after June 1st. Then there's the $11 million charge, next year. In total, you would have paid DeMarcus Lawrence $65 million for 3 years of play, although $19 million of that you wouldn't have had him on your roster because it would be dead money this year. Makes it a little bit more manageable. His cap, it was very cheap his first 2 years, $10 million apiece. But you've restructured that deal as you should have, and now you're stuck with the situation of, do you trust him to stay healthy? If you don't, I think there's a very good chance the Cowboys like to cut DeMarcus Lawrence this offseason. We'll know more in the very, very near future here on the Cowboys Report.